I met a guy on Tinder and we really started to hit it off. We'd been chatting for a few weeks and even discovered we had a few mutual friends. I was pretty intoxicated one night, was feeling social, and decided to drive to his place to meet him for the first time. Once I got there, we talked outside for a while and ended up vibing even better in person. I opened up to him about my health problems, and he opened up to me about his older sister who had just passed away from a similar condition to mine. I was curious about his sister, but I definitely didn't want him to be uncomfortable, so I didn't want to ask too much about her. We walked into his house and it smelled like 1,000 dead rats were rotting under the floorboard. I was still pretty drunk, so I tried to forgive it because hey, sometimes animals die under a house or in the walls and there's nothing you can really do about it. I start to look around and the whole house looks like a cluttered storage unit. He takes me to his room, which is seemingly normal, but I was so drunk that as soon as I hit the bed I fell asleep. I woke up around 10 a.m. feeling very sober and started to look around the room. I noticed that only girls' clothes were hung in his closet. I started to assume I've possibly been cheated with. Then I see a giant black binder on his nightstand. When he woke up, I decided to jokingly ask him what's in that giant binder. Turns out it was every single episode of Golden Girls printed out. He said he read it at work and it's the only show he'll ever watch. It was his sister's favorite show, and they both used to watch it together. I asked him what he did for work, something I definitely should have known by this point, and he dodged the question. I sat up and looked at the pillow. I'd been cozily sleeping on it, had no pillowcase, and was covered what looked to be old blood. It looked like that the blood had been coughed onto it. I started putting the unpleasant pieces together and asked as sensitively as I could, "Hey, was this your sister's room? I noticed the clothes in the closet." "Yeah, and this is her bed. I haven't changed or washed anything. It just makes me feel better to be in her bed. This is actually where I held her when she died, and you remind me so much of her. I really, really like you." At that point, I felt really sorry for him, and I had no idea that he was so close to his sister. It seemed that he was suffering a lot and clearly needed help. He then slowly started coming close to me and casually tried to hook up with me. I was feeling very uncomfortable at that point, so I pushed him away. Doing so, my phone fell on the floor. I bent down to grab my phone. Under the bed was the rotten corpse of his dead sister staring right at me. I wanted to scream really loud, but I kept quiet. I have no idea how I controlled my fear and pretended that everything was normal. I reached for my bag to quickly use my inhaler. He kept staring at me. There was a weird smile on his face, and he told me that his sister used to have one of those. My mind was racing to think of ways to get out of there. I asked him if he could get a glass of water for me. He said all right and went to the kitchen to grab a glass of water for me. As soon as he went to the kitchen, I grabbed my bag and got out of there. As I was driving off, I could hear him screaming, standing at the door, that why was I leaving? I was just glad that I escaped. I immediately called the police and told everything. Few days after, I found out that he was arrested for keeping the corpse of his sister and was later moved to the mental hospital. To this day, his sister's dead face gives me sleepless nights. Hi everyone, I hope you enjoyed this story. Don't forget to comment and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'll see you again with another creepy story. Until then, bye.